Alright, family, this is day 2 of the 90-day challenge, 99 problems, and we're solving every one. I like that a lot. Anyway, day 2, I'm going to talk a little about 3 Bible verses. This isn't anything about being real religious, but I'm using the Bible as a reference point for some concepts. Again, I'm using the Bible because Christianity is one of the religions that a lot of people know about, and it's one of the largest religions in the world. So I figure a lot more people can relate to it, but I just want to use this to take it away from the spiritual aspect, or excuse me, from the scientific aspect, and talk a little more about the spiritual side of it, but using this religious entity, this religious instrument, if you will, to speak about some concepts. Namely, talking about abundance, and by the mindset of abundance, and what the thoughts that we put into our head and how they will affect our outcome, how they affect our spirits, and from there on to the results that we get from the thoughts we bring into our head consistently, and moving forward from there. So I'll start off with Proverbs 23, chapter 23, verse 7. Again, chapter 23, verse 7. A lot of people know the first part of this. This verse is, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he." Again, if I say it differently, it would be, "As a man thinketh, so shall he be." Of course, James Allen wrote his famous book about this, based on this basic principle. But again, Proverbs 23:7, the full verse says, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you." Now, what actually was going on in this particular verse, Solomon was actually talking about a person who doesn't like you, who doesn't really care for you. He'll eat and sit at the table with you and eat and drink with you, but he doesn't really care about you, doesn't really like you, but he'll eat and drink from your table. And basically what he's saying is how a man thinks purely in his heart, and that's the type of person he is. So a person that's an evil person, he may still sit down at the table with you. A person is a good person, sit down at the table with you, still be a good person no matter what he's doing at the table with you. As that man thinks on his inside is who he's going to be. But now we can still manipulate this or construe this into a success principle in the fact that if the first is true, if this verse is true, that means that whatever I'm thinking as a person, for the most part, majority of my day, that's who I am. And we're not just saying just on a surface level. We're talking about deep in my heart, in my soul, spiritually, deep inside, that stuff that may not really let out to other people verbally, but what we think about ourselves, and deep on the times about ourselves, or we're going about the world, the thoughts we don't let out are really who we are as a person. And now going through this church training, like this video and other books that we read, what we're trying to do is change that thought process within us, within our head, to go into our heart, to change us to that person that's successful, that's confident, that's going to be able to move about the world and do the things that we really want to do for ourselves and for our family. So what this also says, if you think about it, it also says that the negative, the opposite is true, which is not where we want to go. A lot of people right now may be thinking to themselves that I've been trying this for so long and it's not working. I'm trying this for so long, it's not working. And what I'm trying to say to you, again, what this verse says also, is that the more you think about I can't do it, the more that's going to happen. The more proof you're going to go find is going to come up to you to show you that it's not going to happen for you. Okay? We're talking about a 90-day challenge right here. I know, and I've been told by my mentors, and I believe my mentors, my income will increase by going through this 90-day challenge, so I'm going to go through for the 90-day challenge. And don't get me wrong, there's days that I haven't felt like I wanted to blog or move forward in my business, but I know every little piece, every little increase every day will move me that much closer. I don't know where my threshold is going to be, where I reach my next level. I just know I keep moving, and I'll shoot up. And then I move, and shoot up again. It's going to come in stair steps. I know that. Now, let's move from there from Proverbs 23:7, which says, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he." But next one is Luke 19, chapter 19, verse 26, which says, "For I say to you that to everyone who has will be given, and from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him." Now that's a whole bunch of things may not. What it means is this: whoever has something is doing will be given more to them, and who doesn't have anything, even what they have will be taken from them. Okay, now this is going about the parable of the talents, where where the master was leaving. He has 3 servants. He has 1 5, 1 2, 1, and the last servant 1 talent. And talent in this situation is kind of crazy to think about the way that word changes over time. But the talent in this time, in the story, was actually some money. So a talent, I can't remember exactly what the value of it was, but it actually gave one of his servants 5 talents, which is say, well, just for example, 5 talents equals $500. He gave the next one 2 talents, is $200, and the last servant $100. And when he comes back from his travel, he told them to take care of this money and use it wisely. The first servant takes the $500 and he multiplies it. He comes back. He has when the master comes back, he has $1,000. The second student, he has $200, and when his master comes back, he has $400. The last servant, he takes his $100 because he was scared, and he said he was scared of his master and what would happen if he didn't make any money, or if he lost the money or didn't do anything with it, right? So he buries his money, doesn't do anything with it. Now, we're not going to go on all the biblical points about it. The point about it, of this parable is this. What you've been given, the talents you have been given, when you don't use them to expand them or to do something worthwhile with them, if you just put them and bury them aside because you're scared about what will happen if you try and go out there and do something, according to this Bible, which is according to the Bible here, in this parable, the people who actually do something with their talents to try to make them move forward will be given even more opportunity. More will come to the person who's doing something more for himself. And the people who are doing less, not doing anything for themselves, even the little bit they have will be taken from them. And I know from personal experience, at times when I wasn't really doing anything in my life, where I just was sitting around, just using people, so to speak, being running around the streets doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing, it seemed like my life just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Times when I'm actually moving forward to try to do things in my life, it seems like things just start happening for me that I wasn't expecting to happen. Couldn't tell that I was going to meet this person, who was going to know this person, who was going to introduce me to that person, and like, whoa, I got something new over here. But now let's change this around and go back to a period with the first verse that comes around. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so shall it be. So now we pair it with this verse of whatever man person has. Who has more, even more will be given to him. Let's put that into our thoughts. Because if it's holding one area according to this Bible, to these concepts, it's going to be true in another area of life. So if I am thinking thoughts in my mind, not only will I become that type of person, but if the majority of my thoughts in my mind are of abundance, or of prosperity, or of love, then according to this verse, even more love, even more prosperity, and even more abundant thoughts. The thoughts of these things will continue to come into my mind. So I will attract people who are thinking these things, and they'll be talking about it. I'll run across books that are talking about love and abundance and prosperity. They'll be attracted to me. I'll end up watching a video or a movie. Have you ever noticed that? You're just thinking about something you've been thinking about, focusing on, and for some reason, a song comes on the radio that reminds you what you've been thinking about. This is what this concept is talking about. It's what this Bible verse is talking about. Let's go on to the last verse, and we got to wrap this up here. The last verse is Proverbs 14, chapter 14, verse 23, which says, "In all labor there is profit, but idle chatter leads only to poverty." That's a good point right there. In all labor there is profit. So when I'm doing something productive, I'm going to get some return. Now it doesn't say when it's going to happen, it just says you're going to get a return. But idle chatter, which means you're just sitting there talking about it, just talking to talk, leads only to poverty. Poverty. Because I was just sitting around talking to talk and not doing like the first part of this verse which says, walking the walk. That's what we're talking about right now. They got a 90-day challenge right now. I'm walking the walk. Even though I'm talking, I'm walking that walk. So again, let's recap of the verses. First one is Proverbs 23. 7 says, "For as he thinks in his heart, so will he be." So the more thoughts of prosperity, things you want, the more likely you will become that person. To anchor that with Luke 19:26, the more abundance, whatever I'm thinking about in abundance, the more of that abundance with thoughts were given to me. So the more I'm thinking about the person I want to be, the more thoughts of that person I want to be, the more things will be attracted to me to become that person. And last, when I take action on those thoughts, I will profit from those actions. All right, this has been D. Orlando Fortune, telling you to keep it as simple as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and do, re, mi. I'm out.